Hello.
Hello.
Did you miss us?
We missed you.
Welcome to The Past Made Me Do It, formerly known as Historia, the podcast. We decided to rename the podcast. We decided to revamp everything, kind of start fresh.
Rebrand.
Yeah, a lot has happened in the last 14 months. Can't believe it's been that long.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, it's been over a year since we recorded last.
Bruh.
Originally, we were going to come back for the holidays and then take another break. We both had babies. There was a lot going on. It was just easier to take a few months off.
Life has been chaotic, believe it or not.
Yeah. So, and now our children are getting older and we're ready to just bring it back and try it out. We've committed to 4 episodes a month. I think we can make it happen.
I think so.
So yeah, Jamie, how you been?
I've been great. I've been grinding. I've been busier than ever, which is, I barely get sleep, but you know what? Coffee is my best friend.
Yes, coffee has become a big priority. For sure, for sure.
How have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. I now have a 1-year-old, which is crazy. She's 13 months now. And
I love her
you
so
have,
much.
what, 8-month-old?
8 months, yeah.
That's wild. My God.
I still, it's so weird because I go on Facebook and Instagram of people that we went to school with, and, half of them are getting married and having kids now, and the other half have no idea what they're doing with their life.
Yeah.
We're kind of at that point where it's it's kind of whatever.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people are, waiting to settle down till they're in their 30s and whatnot.
Don't blame them.
Yeah, for sure. I actually saw a person from high school is now a Mormon. I discovered that yesterday. That was fascinating to see. But
Interesting.
anyway, hope you all are doing well. We do appreciate the few of you who have sent messages in the last year asking if we were coming back. Thanks. We're back.
It. We love it.
We're back and better than ever. So, yeah, we're going to change some things up. And should we just jump in?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so we are going to be starting with a segment called What's Been Happening?
What's been happening? God, I can't sing. I'm sorry. I apologize.
We'll record a song later.
Doo-doo. Acapella.
Yeah. So these are basically just a few stories of things that have been happening in America in the last week or two, to keep you all who are international, living in other countries, informed on the hot mess express that we call the United States of America. That is where we live, if you can't tell by our voices.
We have accents.
Yeah. And of course we love to cover topics from a bunch of different countries and whatnot, but sometimes we overlook America. We don't like to talk about our own history. So that's why we're going to talk about America more.
Yeah, it is. The crazy thing is that for my college senior thesis, I had to do American history, and I hated it. I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I ended up doing it on coal mining labor laws because I was like, I don't know what else to do because there's just so much, because a lot of it's political stuff, what it has to do with presidents and stuff, and I'm like, a bunch of old white men, no thank you.
Right.
But
I love the criminal stuff.
yeah, and there's so much of that no one really teaches in history. And I mean, there's so much American history in the short time that we have been a country, and we don't even learn about it.
Yeah.
We kind of have to explore it ourselves, and kind of museums are super helpful in that. Support your local museums, people. They need it. But it's it
Preach.
Yeah, it teaches you so much. For example, I went to North Carolina a couple weeks ago, and we were down by the coast, and North Carolina is a huge battleground area for naval wars during the Civil War.
Okay.
Naval battles and whatnot. And we went to one which is called Port Fisher, which I would like to cover. And it has so much history in the Civil War, but you never learn about that. You learn about Gettysburg. You learn about the Abraham Lincoln and all that stuff, where there is so much that they don't teach you because it would take forever.
Yeah, it's true.
Because there's just so much happening. Like, I feel like a lot of people overseas and whatnot do not realize how massive the United States are. Like, one of my goals, like, on my bucket list is to reach all 50 states. And that's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, same. I feel like I've traveled a lot in my life, and I've still only been to like 20.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Well, and the crazy thing is that we live in Colorado Central, and to get to like a mountain town, let's say Montrose, let's say Ouray or Telluride, which are huge ski towns. That's a 6-hour drive, and it's still in Colorado.
Yeah. We could take like 7 vacations just in Colorado.
It's bananas. It's so much driving. It's crazy how that works.
So there's a lot of history here. So I didn't know this at all. I don't know how, but New Mexico launched the first free universal childcare.
Really?
For everyone. Yeah, did you know that?
No.
So it's the first U.S. state to now guarantee no-cost childcare for all families, regardless of income. It began November 1st.
I wonder if they approved it at the past election and it's just now being confirmed. Because that's how a lot of them work, where it kind of like they voted in last year's election.
Yeah.
And then it's just now being implemented.
Yeah, I didn't read too much about it, but it says it also includes investments in expanding childcare capacity and raising pay for early childhood educators. Hell yeah, finally! Like, that's so cool.
Well, yeah, because we just had an election here on the 6th of November, and I know Colorado passed free school meals.
Oh, thank God, finally.
Yeah, I was like, that's a thing here.
You would think that would be something we wouldn't have to, try to get, because you'd think we'd already have it, but...
Yeah. We're also in day 38 of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
Which really sucks because...
Yeah.
My husband is in the military. He's not getting paid.
It's terrible.
The two-party system here is a joke. Whatever. That's my...
But anyway, if you live in New Mexico and you're a parent, like, hell yeah, that's great.
I mean... New Mexico is interesting.
Yeah. Connecticut recently passed a bill making childcare free for families under $100,000 per year. So maybe Connecticut's the next one coming up. But yeah, go New Mexico. All right, what's yours?
So other than the government shutdown, this could be pretty international. I don't know if they did it internationally, but here... Starbucks did the teddy bear mug or cup thing.
Yep.
And it failed tremendously. It's crazy because I guess my boss was also telling me about her daughter got up at 4:30 in the morning to go get these cups. And the first one that she went to, they didn't have any. The next one that she went to had 2. And then she went to another one because she was going to get it for her coworker. They only had 5, and the lady in front of her bought all 5 because they resell.
So they just didn't have
enough. Yeah, I don't think they prepped for like how chaotic, because that's one thing that people love to do. Like, I especially here, is that if they see it on social media and it has a good enough marketing, people lose their freaking minds over that shit. Because I'm trying to think of like another one that they did that when it comes to anything Marshalls or TJ Maxx related with like the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
People will grab that stuff and resell it for like 5 times the
I feel
cost.
like there's been like McDonald's ones, like collector's items recently, because they were doing like the nostalgic stuff.
Oh yeah,
the 90s. I think they had like cups or something. I don't know. I'm gonna look up a picture of the bear, but in my opinion, I was like,
it's just plastic.
Yeah, nothing really special. Let us know if you got one. Yeah, they're like not cute, in my opinion, but people just think they'll make a lot of money off of it.
Oh, they probably will, because people are obsessed with having like what is in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, someone's selling it on eBay for $500.
You're kidding.
No.
That was probably like $30.
Yeah.
Which is still way too expensive for a cup.
Oh my god. Yeah, Starbucks Beanie Bear Tumbler South Korea edition.
Oh.
It's kind of cute, but it looks the same. So, if you want to bid on that. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch that are all going for like $400 to $500.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I would be shocked if someone paid that much money for one.
No, for
unless
real.
like you just have dumb money and don't know what to do with it.
Right.
To be honest, if I had $1 million or $2 million and I had to spend it in a day, I would just go on eBay and just bid ridiculously priced stuff.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I could probably spend that in like no time.
Right.
I mean, with this inflation too.
I feel like when eBay first came out, I remember like how exciting it was. Like I remember my dad would just like start bidding on random things he didn't even want because it was fun.
Classic eBay.
Yep. All right. Well, that is what's been happening.
See, you do it better than I do.
We'll record an actual like track, maybe. I don't know.
I can't say. I can try.
You can just go do 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 do.
You can auto-tune me.
Wait, we should auto-tune. Well, we'll do that after this. All right. Well, let's jump back into what you came here for. History.
And today we're going to be talking about American history.
Ooh.
The history I want to talk about is the mental health system. Very particular.
Oh.
So I can go on about how terrible our healthcare system is. That's like a prime reason of the government shutdown right now, is because the Republicans are trying to double the price of health insurance.
Yeah, which is what we need, right?
Yeah, and the Democrats are like, no. I am going to handle a little bit more of like the 20th century. I'm going to be discussing the American lobotomy.
Oh my god, this is such a fun episode to come back to.
So I am going to go over my sources first because I like to. So I got sources from Psychiatry Online, the National Library of Medicine, and the Human Rights Research website. As always here, I am just covering like a brief history of the American lobotomy. Like I know that there's more to it, but for time's sake and just to kind of pique your interest, I'm just going to go over pretty much the basics, simple rundown of just the history of the American lobotomy. Because, I mean, the lobotomy is, it's international. It was happening all over the world, but I want to specifically talk about the American one.
For sure.
That really impacted like our healthcare system in the 20th century. So the 1900s, if you don't know. So I do want to put a warning. So I am going to be talking about some disturbing talks of this medical practice. It is very unsettling. And I do warn about talking of abuse and also death. So just a little forewarning. So to start, we need to dive into what is a lobotomy.
Dun, dun, dun.
They don't teach you this in grade school. So lobotomy is a medical practice that was done on individuals using surgical instruments that would go in and split parts of the frontal lobes of the brain. It was getting very like brain talk, and I was like, what?
All the sciencey words.
All the sciencey words. I did.
We are not a science podcast, by the way.
No, and that's one thing. I did take psychology. I took social psychology. I took so many sociology classes, but I'm not a doctor. There's a lot to know about the brain. The brain is still being tested because there's so much we don't know about it.
It's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. So if you know nothing about the human brain, like most people, me, the frontal lobe is responsible for the way we speak, our motivation in life, how we socialize in society, and who we are as a person. So it's our whole personality, our frontal lobe. Now, the frontal lobe, of course, is located in the front part of the brain.
Wow.
Whoa, science. I'm educating.
All the doctors are like, yeah, totally.
So a lobotomy would be performed due to various reasons. It was seen a lot that those who experienced schizophrenia, signs of dementia, depression, and any severe pain would be given a lobotomy. This was originally like what they did. It started out with schizophrenics or what they knew about schizophrenia.
Yeah.
They just knew this person is just like seeing people that they shouldn't. Let's do something about it. Mm-hmm. So that's what the lobotomy was originally supposed to do. It has been mentioned that there were many successes that they said, quote unquote, but the results of them would cause a lot more of the removal of everything that is like in the frontal lobe of your personality than curing what they said that they were going to do. So it did kind of in the long run, it did more damage than it did anything. Mm-hmm. And from the sources I was finding, they're like, there wasn't really any solid scientific data to really agree with what they were trying to say that it was doing.
Yeah.
This specific practice of the lobotomy was fairly new, whereas like there's other ones. So practices like the lobotomy has been around for centuries, like millennia, all over the world. A very old practice that has been documented is the practice called trephination of the skull. Ooh. This practice has been found all over the world, Asia, South America, Europe. It's crazy how every single like culture has some sort of practice like this. For some of them, it would be performed by shamans, depending on the culture, or witch doctors. Then once it got into like the Renaissance, it was performed by doctors, quote unquote. They kind of were just experimenting imposters at that point. Yeah, I mean, at the Renaissance, oh my gosh, that's a whole medieval thing. Torture is a whole thing. Yeah. Oh my god. So in this trephination practice, they would open like your scalp and drill a hole in the top of your skull, and they believe that this would be to cure like diseases such as like epilepsy, headaches, and other like known diseases in that kind of realm.
And you can like put people to sleep at this point.
Yeah, because they didn't have like morphine, so like or fully, like anything.
Fully like feeling it.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I don't know if like South American or Asian had some medicinal like numbings,
but it couldn't have been that good at that point.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But they have found proof of like this type of practice being done on like skulls that they've like exhumed or have discovered with like holes in the skull from where they like pretty much just the cortex that's like up there of that part of the brain. They're like, let's just knock on it and just see what happens.
Nice.
Some perform this technique to rid evil demons from their body. That's what they thought. Yeah. Some were like, oh, we're going to cure this like issue that they have, but it actually made it worse.
Oh my god. That's scary.
But over time, those like mentally unstable, schizophrenia was probably a big one where they thought there was a demon in their body, and so they performed this practice. Yeah, it
makes sense. Yeah, gotta get rid of those demons somehow.
Yeah, it's really
oh
sad.
Oh, that's really bad.
So a lot of them, they thought that it was going to like cure them because they kind of just became bland. Some of them, they just would either just become like a vegetable almost in a sense, whereas like other ones, their whole personality would change or whatever. So it could be worse. It was a whole thing. I'm sure there's more like scientific data, but like it's really hard to know from like tribes and stuff.
Yeah.
If they didn't document it, like, we can only assume. Whereas if you look at like the Renaissance or the medieval ages, the pictures are terrifying if you look them up online.
Wow.
That torture is terrible.
It is. We'll do an episode on that eventually.
I would love to.
I would love to talk about torture.
So further research on the brain and cerebral locations of the brain came to an interesting head in the mid-1800s. There's a case that helped researchers understand a little bit more about how the frontal lobe affected people. In 1848, a man by the name of Phineas P. Gage was working on construction for Rutland and Burlington Railroad in Cavendish, Vermont. Mm-hmm. It was during that work Phineas was severely injured by a long iron bar. This would go through his left cheek, moving upwards, hitting parts of the frontal lobe, and exiting through the back right side of his head.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he...
Oh my... A pole?
An iron rod.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you would think an injury like this would have killed him, but he survived.
No.
Yeah.
I would not want to survive that.
Yeah, I didn't put this in my notes, but I have to make a note. This guy, that iron rod after this accident was like his best friend.
What?
He had a picture with it. In the 1800s. He took like a picture with it because it was like
covered in blood. The second they get it out of him, he's like, let's take a picture with it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like from years later.
He was probably known as like the rod guy.
Probably.
So how'd they get it out?
They pulled it out. I'm pretty... Yeah, I think
the top. Wait, it went up. It went out the top.
It went out through like the back part of his...
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know how that man... Yeah, it went through like his eye too. Like he didn't have an eye after that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
He was just like working on like the railroad and some freak accident happened and it went right through his face.
That seems kind of hard for that to happen, right? Like,
I mean, accidents on railroad happen a lot more than you thought.
The railroad was a sketchy place.
Oh, 100%. It was, and labor laws back then were non-existent, so
yeah,
he couldn't really sue either. I'm sure.
That sounds absolutely horrendous.
Well, yeah, and like the fact that he survived, this confused doctors. They were like, what the hell? How is this man alive, first of all? Mm-hmm. But yeah, he survived it, especially in the 1800s. Like, my God.
Yeah.
But when Phineas was able to move and talk again, friends and family started to see a difference in his behavior. Mm-hmm. Who once was a friendly, energetic, motivated man was now a ghost of that. His personality completely changed to being someone who became an unstable person between being irresponsible, erratic, and socially uninhibited. So his entire personality was just gone and just became very aggressive, which is like, yeah, if it's going through the frontal lobe, and that makes who you are as a person, like your personality, knowing right from wrong, social cues and stuff like that. If that gets completely destroyed, what do you have left?
It's like when people get in like tragic like car accidents and lose a lot of their memory, or their personality changes because it hits them right in the spot.
For amnesia, I'm not really sure. I think that I don't know if that's your frontal lobe. I think memories are a different part.
Or in the back.
I have no idea.
But if you were to get hit, like, in the front, I could see how that could, like, change.
Yeah. Because
interesting.
Yeah, like, if some parts get, like, disconnected or whatever in the brain, yeah, it can, like, completely change you.
And you don't get your frontal lobe till you're, like, 20-something. Right? It's not fully developed.
I have no idea.
I think for, like, men, it's not fully developed till they're, like, 26 or something.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
So doctors found this case to be intriguing and inspired many in their research when it came to psychosurgery. So psychosurgery is kind of dealing with like brain stuff. We see medical professionals of the time start to research and begin experimenting as well. So in the 1800s, a lot more started to experiment and do research on the function of the brain and also like behavior. We see more science enlightenment making its return again, moving into the 20th century. So one example of a researcher was Dr. Gottlieb Burckhardt. He was a psychiatrist that would complete a surgery removing a patient's cerebral cortex, thinking that it would remove any of his patient's aggressive tendencies. It did not do that.
Yeah,
it kind of just made them a vegetable.
Well, at least they're not being crazy, I guess.
I mean, that's you
wild.
can go with that. As development in psychosurgery began, one doctor that would make a huge impact in its structure was Dr. Antonio Egas Moniz. He was a professor for neurology at the University of Lisbon. He would be acquainted with Dr. Almeida Lima. So these two were they were really into how the brain functioned and was trying to figure out pretty much like those who struggled with epilepsy or schizophrenia and those who were just like unwell of what they could do to like prevent it, because at this point in time, medication that we have now, antipsychotic medication or anything like that to help with like your mental illness, did not exist. And and they didn't even think of that as a possibility at the time, really. So the next best thing was, let's play around with the brain and see what happens. And of course, like, the moral compass of like, should we be picking at people's brain was just, we have to do this to see how it affects. Yeah. And they tried to make it look like what they were doing was in the name of research, where it's like, sure. I mean, at first people were like, yes, treat as much as you can, but then it kind of got it off the rails, which no shocker there. So together, these two doctors worked on performing a procedure that they built off of from one another's research to work on the frontal cortex of the brain, so the frontal side. The two would perform procedures called frontal lobotomies. A frontal lobotomy was the sectioning of the white matter connections from the prefrontal cortex and the thalamus of the brain. Oh. I'm just spewing.
You're like, I'm just saying what it told me.
I'm telling you, as I'm talking to you right now, please pull up a picture of the brain, because it will help you.
Follow along, kids.
Yeah.
In your books.
So, yeah. So, these two connections would pretty much help keep your frontal like lobes and cortex to develop and help you build like a personality and stuff like that. So they thought with like disconnecting it, that whatever mental illness you have would be removed if they did that. And whatever side effects that they would get from it, they're like, well, they're not seeing people anymore, so it worked.
They may not have a personality anymore, but
they're not talking about their buddy Fred over there, like,
right.
So it's a whole thing.
They were trying to figure it out back then.
Yeah, so when they first started this lobotomy, this procedure was done on patients that had signs of schizophrenia and depression. The first one was conducted in 1935, soon after a man by the name of Dr. Walter Freeman would enter the picture. Before we continue with Freeman, we need to talk a little bit about what was going on in the United States with mental institutions. Because they started being developed in the 1700s. I think the first one was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they started off small. They weren't overloaded with people. They were kind of just, if they had like a real issue or some sort of like disability to where like the caregiver could not take care of them, or they were like really sick, having sorts of just mania and stuff like that, people would go to the hospitals and whatnot. But it wasn't until the 20th century that we started to see a rise in population in the psychiatric hospitals. As more hospitals were being built throughout the country, many families were coming to terms that they could not handle the care of those family members with mental instability. Like, they just were like, I'm not taking care of this. And of course, drugs weren't a thing. So they kind of just, a lot of them just dropped family members off. And these psychiatric hospitals weren't meant to be long term. They were supposed to be where you go there, you get the treatment that you needed, and then you go home. And that was pretty common in the 19th century. A lot of them would be like, they would do whatever experimentation on them and be like, okay, you're good to go home. And it was very rare that a lot of patients would stay long term, but it was the turn of the 20th century, especially with World War II coming into play, World War I, that a lot of those patients were becoming long term. They weren't leaving the hospitals. Because of that, the psychiatric hospitals started to become overwhelmed with patients, and there was not enough staff to support those patients. So that became a really big problem.
Ooh,
and this was not just like one or two hospitals throughout the country. This was all over the place. There are freaking ghost shows that go to asylums because there's been so much death around them, because there was so much hygiene issues. Nothing was sanitary. No one washed anything. There wasn't enough help. And there were just so many people with mental illnesses that they had no idea on how to actually cure, that it became a problem. And that, I'm sure internationally it was the same, but here in the US it was really bad, especially in the 1930s through the 1960s. It was like a huge soar in just like the population increase in psychiatric hospitals.
wow.
Yeah, it was really sad. It's crazy that it got to that point, but they had no funding.
That is so sad. I can imagine like having a mental illness back then and just like thinking like something major is wrong with you. You're crazy, you know, just because they don't know anything about them.
Well, and the crazy thing too is that in a lot of psychiatric hospitals, that if at the time, if your family members found out you were gay, or found out that you had different ideologies, especially those that were very strict Catholics or Christians and stuff like that,
right,
they would call you crazy and convince the doctors and stuff that you were unstable. So a lot of people who were probably perfectly fine were forced into these institutions and to be experimented on, and or like electric shock therapy they called it,
right,
was very big too at the time, which
that's terrible.
It's
like everyone had to be the same.
So it's like
cutter.
So it's like at this point too, you had people that were like perfectly fine getting all this attention of some sort of like experimentation, whereas like the people who actually had like mental disabilities or illnesses, they just were not getting the attention or help that they needed. So
Wow.
that's the 20th century for you.
Wild.
Yeah.
At least we've come further than that, you know?
Yeah. So with these mental asylums, like as I talked about electroshock therapy, a lot of other like before like the lobotomy, they would do straitjackets to like help like calm you down. They also had a lot of them in isolation, which that does not help.
Right. That's how they used to solve everything. Like,
or like, oh,
you're depressed, you have to stay by yourself. It literally makes it worse.
Right. It's like that's why they have like people to talk to now.
Right. You literally need the opposite.
Exactly. But eventually experimental procedures started to become very common in these mental psychiatric hospitals too, because they do their research. They're like, well, we found out that this might work, so let's start doing it on patients that we think fit the criteria of having this issue of schizophrenia, depression, dementia. So let's try this new procedure on them and see, like let's build our research.
Wow.
Yeah.
You might be depressed, so we're just gonna get in there and
yeah. So this is where Dr. Walter Freeman comes into play. Freeman was a massive Dr. Moniz fan. He was obsessed with him in a sense of just, he did such a deep dive into his research and was just met him a few times and was just like, I love you so much. I want to be just
fangirl.
Like you. Yeah, he was a huge fangirl. And he went to one of Moniz's like lectures and stuff like that, and he was like, oh my god, I have an idea, like this is gonna be great. So he decided that he wanted to alter Moniz's lobotomy. He was like, I think I could do it in a different way that's not like drilling a hole in someone's skull. I think it's something else. So Dr. Moniz's procedure would drill holes into the head of patients to separate the frontal sections of the brain. Freeman in his research found there was a different way to access a person's frontal lobe rather than drilling a hole. So he decided that, and he would do the lobotomy for a while, a frontal lobotomy for a bit. Like he was doing it to Americans for years. But then as he was doing that, he was doing his own research of developing the lobotomy. So Freeman's method was able to take a long surgical instrument that many resembled as an ice pick, and he would use it to access the brain through the eye socket through the frontal lobe, where he would sever the connection of the thalamus and the frontal
And you don't
cortex.
have an eye anymore.
Oh, you would.
Really?
Yeah. You would just have a massive bruise. Yeah. Because like where he would access it, and you would be sedated at first. In the earlier years,
At first.
in the earlier years, he would sedate them. You wouldn't be knocked out though. But so pretty much he would use like the ice pick, and then he would take like a little hammer and go. Oh, that's why a lot of them go crack, crack, crack when they talk about lobotomy. Yeah. They called this the transorbital lobotomy.
There's something about something going in an eye socket that I'm just not comfortable with.
Yeah. But it would cause like massive bruising around the eye.
Crazy you can still see after that. Oh my God.
Right? But I guess it was like, because it's not really, you're getting between like the eye and like.
Okay.
It's so
not
gross.
the eyeball, just the
socket.
Ugh.
Well, they would like kind of flap your eye back.
Okay. All right, let's move on. I'm terrified.
I think in an episode of American Horror Story, one of the episodes, someone got a lobotomy done.
I remember that. What season was that?
It was season 2 because it was the 1960s. It was Asylum.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
And I think someone got a lobotomy during one of the episodes.
Yeah, they probably showed all of that.
Yeah.
To rewatch that and see. That's wild. I can't even... I don't know. I don't even want to think about it.
So Freeman would work together with a neurosurgeon named James Watts. With this change in procedure, they would change the name from the lobotomy to the lobotomy, the transorbital lobotomy. Their first prefrontal lobotomy would be done in 1936 on a housewife named Alice Hood Hammett. This would be the first in the United States, but his transorbital lobotomy would be done in 1946 on a woman named Sally Ellen Ionesco. So he was doing the traditional, like, whatever, lobotomy in 1936, and then it wouldn't be until, like, a decade later where he perfected, quote unquote, his transorbital lobotomy. Oh. So he was kind of just like, I figured out something else to do. It's a nice pick. Yeah.
Fun.
So the two from 1936 would work together on performing lobotomies throughout the country. And in 1942 would publish an edition on psychosurgery and their findings on the 200 patients they had done this procedure on. From 1936 to 1942, they had done it on 200 people.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was during the 1940s that we see the lobotomy and the transition of lobotomies grow internationally, but also within the United States. It started rapidly increasing because everybody was hearing about this lobotomy and lobotomy, and they're just like, I have a family member that needs it. They're crazy. So as this procedure was becoming more popular with the mental hospitals, that is when Freeman started his experimentation with the transorbital lobotomy. With this ice pick method, Freeman believed that this procedure would start to become more common for physicians to perform. He's like, this is going to be the turn of the century. Everybody's going to get one done. We are going to cure the mentally ill. And he believed it.
One lobotomy at a time.
One lobotomy at a time. So it started with patients being sedated, but the procedure started to get carried away from its initial idea. Like, for one, there was no sterilization of the utensils that were being used.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And he would do, at one point, he did dozens of these lobotomies in a day. And he would use like the same utensils without sterilizing them.
Oh.
So like, yeah, hygiene was not a priority.
Oh.
And he just kept like going beyond with this like idea of the lobotomy, and he was like, his morals were kind of getting out of hand of that. People would come to him and be like, I have a family member that needs to get a lobotomy done, and he would be like, okay, like, let's discuss this. And then people would just go to him to where like his moral lines were starting to be crossed, to where he was just probably doing it for money, doing it for fame, doing it from like recognition,
not for people who actually like needed it, or so-called needed it.
Yeah. And James Watts realized this, and he's like, no, I don't like this new method. I don't appreciate like how you're doing this. Like, you're not really doing it for finding like a cure for like whatever mental illness, because the crazy part is that some people would get like 2 or 3 of them done. So it's like, is it actually working if you have to do it more than once?
Right.
And James Watts was like recognizing this. He's like, no, I'm done. So he eventually parted ways with Freeman, and Freeman was like, whatever, I'll go do it myself then. And he did.
Okay, buddy.
It was in this next decade that Freeman would go on to perform over 50,000 lobotomies. So there would be over 50,000. I don't know if it was just him, but there would be well over 50,000 lobotomies performed in the United States alone.
In a decade, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's a lot.
Jesus.
Even with the warnings, like, the medical community did not find this method to be, like...
Effective.
Effective. They did not think that the research data behind it was really strong. They're like, there has to be, like, whatever documentation that you're finding of, like, effects, like, in the long run, they're not really being cured of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they weren't finding, like, definitive proof that, like, their schizophrenia or whatever was actually being cured, because they were losing their personalities because of it.
Yeah.
So they're even though he's like, I cured of whatever doing, it's like, are they really better off?
They're like, there has to be another way to, like, not fully get rid of their personality, but to help them.
And it's crazy too that he performed a lobotomy on a family member of a famous person in American history. If you do not know about the Kennedy family,
Oh God.
they are a pretty politically influential family, and one being the president JFK, who was assassinated. So it was his sister that was taken to Freeman, and it was decided that a lobotomy would be done on her by...
On JFK's sister?
Yeah.
Oh. What's her name?
Rosemary.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So her name was Rosemary Kennedy. She was carefree, had a personality that the family feared would make their image look bad.
Of course.
And this was not the first family to do something like this, unfortunately. Especially, as I talked about earlier, if some family members found out that their child was gay or had some wild streak or whatever, they would go to, like, to Freeman or whatever doctor that could perform this, which there weren't a lot. And they would be like, you need to do something about this. Like, she's unwell. And he's like, I agree. Because he just wanted more research data and to perform these procedures so he could up his numbers, I'm sure. Whatever. So she would end up getting a lobotomy done on her. And she was not the same after this. She was completely handicapped and disabled after it. She was a vegetable pretty much, and she was in a mental or a psychiatric hospital pretty much for her entire life because of it. And she lived till she was 84. Imagine the kind of life she could have had if she didn't get one done.
No, for real.
Just because she had a bit of a rebellious streak.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
wow.
Welcome to the 20th century United States. During the peak of lobotomies being performed, it started to deviate from those suffering schizophrenia to those that would just go to Freeman. Many patients started to actually show signs of epilepsy, dementia, internal bleeding, and even brain infection after getting a lobotomy done. Yeah. So whatever they were trying to cure of was actually being a side effect. Now,
nice.
Some patients also showed signs of change in behavior, of course. Some also became vegetables, pretty much. It was also common that if a lobotomy was performed by Freeman and the behavior of the patient was not to the standard it should have been, it would lead to another procedure being performed. And I think there was like a 5% death rate, which is still high.
God. Yeah.
Especially with like only 50,000 being done. 50 to 60,000, 5% is still a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of them too, that even if they survived a lobotomy, some eventually did end up dying due to whatever side effect was caused. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
So it was becoming a clear sign to the medical community that the lobotomy was not curing anything.
Right.
They finally
like, y'all
realized.
need to stop.
All through the 1940s, lobotomies were a method of trying to cure schizophrenia. But into the turn of the 1950s, the practice actually started to subside. People were like, yeah, no. But it was also during the 1950s that the introduction of chlorpromazine in 1952 would be pushed into the scene, which is a antipsychotic drug. It's no longer produced. It's illegal here
Okay.
to do it, but it was used at the time to help those with schizophrenia. And this drug started to replace the lobotomy because they're like, well, people aren't dying because of it.
Right.
But I guess this particular medication eventually started to become illegal because if you started mixing other medications, it had terrible side effects to it.
Okay.
So there's other
Better than getting your brain cut up. Into.
So there's other like medications now that people take that
Right.
have like schizophrenia or depression and stuff like
There's
that.
so much out there now, which is really good.
Yeah,
But we have to start somewhere, right?
Damn, drilling a hole in someone's head.
God.
So Freeman, though, still for the next decade performed lobotomies until 1967.
He's still doing them? People are still doing them?
Not anymore.
Well, no.
But
Like back then.
He was. So he was originally in Washington, D.C. at a hospital there. And it was during the turn of like the 1950s that they were just like, yeah, we're not really going to do this now. So he moved across the country to California and was just doing like regular just lobotomies. And it was kind of like a last resort, which I'm sure wasn't that hard to decide if it was a last resort.
Yeah.
So he was still performing them until 1967. His last patient was Helen Mortensen, who had previously had 3 lobotomies performed by him. I was like, if
3 didn't work, it's not. The 4th one's not going to do anything either.
Yeah.
Give up.
So I'm guessing it was her family that instructed him to do it.
They're like, keep going. It will eventually work.
She probably has no personality at this
No.
point. It was during this procedure that Helen would die from a brain hemorrhage. So this was a final straw within the medical community. They're like, no,
Oh, wow.
you're done. So they banned Freeman from doing lobotomies anymore.
Finally.
Yeah, and lobotomy is now a method that is not practiced anymore because there's so many other things to do, and we've realized that it does not do what it was intended. So this damage to the frontal lobe was morally questioned as more researchers have been done, and the lobotomy is now a set example of the rough history Americans faced during the turn of the 20th century and the mental health care system.
I say it a lot, but thank God for modern medicine.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts from somewhere, but
Yeah.
I feel so bad for those that had to deal with it in the 1930s, 40s, 50s because they got the brunt of the worst of it.
Yeah, that's not even 100 years ago.
No.
That's the weird part. It was like, it feels like it was so long ago. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy too because like a lot of these hospitals ended up closing because of them being exploited, or just people found out how terrible they were being run. And so they were just like, yeah, no, this is not going to fly. And then they're like, well, we're going to have to close our doors. And it's really terrifying right now because there are not a lot of mental hospitals there anymore. Like, I think we maybe have 1 or 2 here.
Yeah.
That I know of. I think Pueblo has one.
Yeah, of course.
But that it's a really big problem because now we have a lot of homeless that have mental illnesses and they cannot get the help that they need.
Yeah, if you don't have insurance in this country, you can't really
do anything.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Something definitely needs to change. There needs to be a bigger focus on it for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that is the American lobotomy.
That was so fascinating. Oh my God, I love it. I'm so glad we don't do those anymore.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrifying. And just seeing, you know, it definitely was on an episode of American Horror Story because I remember watching it and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I watched season 2 like last year because I like was rewatching it.
Yeah.
And I remember that. So
it's quite disturbing, but it's very true. So
wow, that's wild. That was a good one.
Thank you. I tried my best. We will update you with socials when we get them.
Yeah, we're in the process of kind of switching over from our old name to our new name. The past made me do it. Thank you all for listening. We're so excited to be back. And stay tuned because we have some more exciting episodes coming up.
I can't wait to hear them.
All right.
We'll catch
see
you next week.
Bye.
Bye.